So we're going to make salt dough for the last time. Hopefully not the last time, but for the last time. I have 2 cups of flour in here. Hopefully that's enough to make my mask out of. Your last project in salt dough is going to be a mask. Here's 1 cup of salt into the flour. I like to mix that up a little bit. And now I have 1 cup of warm water. Do not add it all at once. You want to add maybe half of it and start mixing that up, because you want the stiffest dough possible and still have it hold together. I know that's not going to nearly be enough water. So once I get this mixed, I'll add a little bit more, but very carefully now, because you can easily over wet it. And now I'm going to feel it. Is it holding together? No. I'm going to add a little bit more water. You may end up using all your water. You may not. A lot depends on how you measure things. If you put heaping flour, where the flour comes above the edge, now that's starting to all clump together. That feels pretty good. I do not want to add any more water. I do have some left in there. And now you want to knead it. You want to keep kneading it until you get all the rest of that in there. I think you want to make your salt dough just before you start making your mask. Have your idea ready for your mask. The more you knead this, the smoother it's going to get. This is a vinyl tablecloth that I have here, which is really nice. It does not seem to stick to it. So just like wedging clay, I can keep doing this, kneading it like I do bread or like clay, wedging it, just like wedging it, rolling it over on itself. Keep doing that until it is nice and smooth. Put it in a plastic bag so this is not sloppy. It's a soft clay. If it gets too soft, you can mix up some more flour and salt in the same proportions and add it right to it. Just knead it right in. But this is feeling pretty good for me for what I'm going to do today. So this is our final project, salt dough project, and we're going to make a mask. And to make a mask, you're going to want an idea of what you want to make a mask of. I always have a tendency to pick animals. I have sent you a lot of different mask ideas. You don't need to do an animal. You can do something modern. Look at those masks. A lot of the really modern ones are actually very ancient ones. The people are incredible mask makers. It's a huge history of masks in our culture and within humans. So I'm of course going to do an owl. I'm going to do an owl. I think I'm going to do this owl over on this side. And so I'm going to do a little bit of some prep for that. I think I want my eyes and my beak to be hard before I start making it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a beak out of salt dough. And I have found that some of the things that help are the backs of spoons. And I'm going to make a couple eyes. So I'm going to cook these ahead of time. I'm going to pre-bake them. And I don't have to pre-bake them all the way. I can pre-bake them. I'm going to put them in about 220 for about maybe 15 minutes. I want my eyes to be real nice and round. So I use that. I use my tablespoon for that. And I'm not going to worry about if I nicked it or something, because I'll be covering it with an eyelid anyway afterwards. I'm going to do another one. And right now I'm wondering, wow, I wonder if I baked it inside this metal thing, if I'd get a really good... I don't think it would bake very easily. Okay, I'll take that out. If I can't get it, I can use anything I can think of to get it out. It doesn't seem to stick very much to metal. I got two pretty even eyes. I'm going to make a beak. I want to look and see what this beak looks like. It's a pretty sharp little beak. So I can use a knife to cut things with. Cut that on an angle. Cut that on an angle. Comes back up into the head. Undercut it a little bit. So I have my eyes and I have my beak. I have found that if you want to smooth it down, you can use a little water to smooth it down. You can use the back of a spoon to smooth it down. I want the front of that beak to be pretty sharp. There's going to be a lot of feathers involved in this, so I'm not too worried about having it too perfect. I'm looking at a picture. This is the bottom part of the beak. There we go. That's what I want, that little point. And I'm going to bake these and let them get kind of hardened up, stiffened up. Get rid of that little crease, but I don't think that's going to make a big difference. Like I said, it doesn't matter too much. Okay, I'm going to bake those. And then I'm going to bring them back out and you'll see how I do the rest of this. So now I'm going to get ready for the head part of my mask, the back part that's going to be up against the wall. And I want to make it hollow. It will bake a lot better and it will be much more functional for hanging on the wall. These are going to hang on the wall. I have told you to get ready with a small soup bowl. This is the soup bowl I have. People always ask me, Mrs. King, do you only eat out of pottery stuff? Yep, this is it. This is the only thing I have, but that's about the size you want. You can see how it fits in my hand. A small soup bowl will work. I can't think of anything else right now. Any kind of small bowl. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, you can take newspaper, paper towel, anything you have. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it with the paper towel. And the paper towel is not going to sit on it very well. But that's okay, because the second thing I'm going to do is cover it with foil. The foil is a great thing to have underneath your salt dough. The only problem with the foil is that the salt dough has a tendency to stay soft up against it, even after hours of baking. So at some point, we're going to have to take the mask off of our form after we baked it for quite a while and take all the foil out of it and set it in the oven all by itself with no form underneath it and to bake some more so it's not soft. So I have my form set up and now I'm ready to cover it with some clay, with some salt dough. If you have a rolling pin, it works really well. I'm going to take a little piece of this. You're not going to need much. And like I said, I'm pretty lucky in that I have this vinyl that the salt dough does not seem to stick to. So I'm going to really knead it up pretty good. I don't want to have a lot of air in it, I don't think. I'm going to just roll it out. This is just an old broom handle from my grandfather, who was a baker. My mother hates the fact that I use this for this. I'm going to roll it out to probably, I'd say that's about a 1/4 inch thick. I've only used a bit. This is clay I have left already from the 2 cups that I made. And also I've also made eyes in the beak. And that's all the clay I have left. I'm going to make sure that it's nice and smooth. And then I'm going to bring this back here. You have to put it right on there. And I'm going to push it down around it. You can see from this point on, I'm working on a tray. I've missed a spot over there. Very easy. After I get this pushed around. I'm going to cut it. And I can use this for the parts that I am missing. And all I do, I can take a little water. I have a little water here in a bowl. And I just smear some on there. Then pop it right on here and push it down. Obviously, just like with clay, if you add too much water, it's going to be an issue. I don't worry about it sticking to my foil. I'm going to be taking that off after I've baked it anyway to get some more baking. I'm just going to do a kind of a general covering like this. At this point, if you'd like to, you can pre-bake this too. When I pre-bake pieces of salto, I do it in a much cooler oven. I do it at 220 for only about 10 to 12 minutes. It's gonna harden up really quickly. I have found after pre-baking, you can still wet it down and add pieces to it. Water is how you adhere this. That's it. That's what I'm going to do for part 2. So I have, you can see I've kind of started a few things here, but the most important thing is I've gotten my eyes and my beak out of the oven. And I'm just going to place them right on my soft clay that I made just earlier. And I told you my eyes weren't completely round, and that's okay because I'm going to put eyelids over them anyway. And that's about where I think I want them for my owl. I've started doing my feathers going around here. And the way that I did this, you can see I've started doing my feathers. The way that I did my feathers is I actually rolled out a coil of clay. And then I started cutting this coil into pieces, about the same size piece. Being careful not to cut my mother's tablecloth. It's just coming down on it. And then I rolled these into balls. So I'm making like a little assembly line here. I'm going a little bit quick because I don't want my clay to dry out. Now to make the clay stick, I'm going to leave that for later. To make the clay stick, all I do is add a little water to the back of it, and to make my feathers, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually overlap my first layer of feathers. All the feathers are going to go from here and move up the head like this. Okay, so I'm just going to put those right there, push it down, and then I'm going to push it right up and make my feather overlap my other feather. So I'm going to turn this towards me because I can do it a lot easier. And once again, I'm just going to take a little water, put it on there, and lay the wet part up against my clay on my bowl and push up. A little bit of water right there and push up, and that will stick. And now I can keep overlapping my feathers. And I'm going to be bringing these feathers all the way up around the beak so they actually go into the beak. And I'll debate about the feathers around the eyes once I get up there. So my feathers are almost like fish scales. This is a way you could almost do a fish too. If you need to smooth something down, I have found what works really well is the back of a spoon. And if I need to smooth something or pat it down, it really does quite well. You can see the color difference in between this and this. Could you not come in here for right now? You can see the color difference between here and here as where I pre-baked it. Okay, and I can keep on doing that, adding feathers as I go, wetting them down. If I want to do anything a little bit more tricky, I can push them down with the spoon and give it a little bit of a design there. That's pretty cool. I like that. Wish I would have done it to the bottom layer, but I'll do it this way.